Hello everyone, and welcome to a private, if you like, an exclusive virtual church, even though there are two of me. Caroline, can you please get rid of the echo next door? Thank you very much. We had that last time, actually. I'm a little bit off centre. That's unusual. If I lean forward a bit, then maybe I'm more in centre. This is a special virtual church just for you, for the Patreons. So to say thank you very much for everything that you have done, and I'd just like to do something just for you. So this is a virtual church. It'll be a shortened virtual church today. We are, for the first time since baby Hugo's arrived, just the two of us here today. The past couple of weeks we've had childcare support, but we haven't got that today. So we're just going to have a little bit of a shorter VC, if that's okay. Caroline has very kindly written down a list of hymns here which have been requested over on Patreon and on email. We've got about 15 or so hymns here and a couple of organ pieces. We'll try to, I'm going to try to be finished within the hour, so we started a bit late, so we'll finish at hopefully at about 7:10 UK time. So that's in about 55 minutes according to my clock here. I do hope you're well. Today is going to be a bit more informal. And what's this? Caroline can't see the chat. Well, if you go to, what is this? Where are you?
Patreon.
Right, if you go onto YouTube, open it. So if you're watching this on Patreon, you'll need to somehow open it in YouTube. How do I do that? I'm not sure. Yes, I don't know. Is anybody else? Look, you can see that I've got the chat open on mine. Why don't you have it on mine? There, see? Have it on mine. There we go. Yeah, so it's a good job. This is a private VC because it's a bit more informal and a bit more chaotic than usual. Very happy Easter to everyone. This time last week it was Easter Day. For those people who possibly weren't in last week's VC, very happy Easter to you. Hope you're having a break, or you're off work or school holidays. Hope you're enjoying nice weather wherever you are in the world. I do hope that you are well. I know at least one person in our community is in somewhere where he would rather not be, aren't you, Trevor? So let's hope you can get out of that hospital sooner rather than later and get back to playing the organs and doing what you enjoy doing best. Food fights. So obviously today is even though we are in the celebratory season of Easter, it's a rather poignant and somber mood here in the UK at the minute. We've just unfortunately lost the Duke of Edinburgh, the Queen's husband, has just died aged 99, just short of his 100th birthday. And if you need to seek example of someone who has really lived their life and made the most of an opportunity, you need look no further than Prince Philip. So the national anthem there with the Gordon Jacob fanfare, and before that, of course, was the Nimrod by Elgar. So today we'll have a celebratory virtual church for Easter, but we'll also keep in mind the great man, the Duke of Edinburgh, because he really is a great man. For people outside of the UK, here in the UK, he was a much loved person, a character. He had, if you search on YouTube for Prince Philip gaffes or something like that, he was such a witty person. He would say these extraordinary one-liners which no one else would dare say, but because he was a prince, the Queen's husband, he could say whatever he liked. So he got away with it on the whole. So I don't quite know necessarily, and I apologise in advance, I'm not sure really who's requested what here. The Church as One Foundation looks like it's been requested by Keith. Sorry I didn't reply to your email, Keith. We didn't have the fire lit on Friday. We were actually, we had it lit last night, but not on Friday. I think when you emailed us, we were knee deep in nappies and all of that. So we didn't get around to lighting the fire. The Church as One Foundation is Jesus Christ her Lord. She is his new creation by water, and the word tune is called Aurelia. Wonderful, wonderful tune. Thank you very much, Keith, for requesting one of my favourite hymns. So if there is a fail-safe way of getting the chat available, I think if you're watching this on Patreon, if you're watching it on the Patreon app in your phone or iPad, you won't see the chat. But if you can get the video on YouTube, you'll see the chat as normal. If you're watching it on a computer with a mouse, on the video, towards the top of the video itself, you'll see the title of the video, Virtual Church. If you click that title, it's actually a hyperlink, which should then take you onto YouTube, where you'll then see the live chat. It'd be good to have you in the chat, actually. One of the great joys about these virtual churches is the ability to chat, isn't it? So try and get involved with the chat if you can. The next hymn we'll have here is Longing for Light, We Wait in Darkness. And this is a request, I think, from Ian and Maggie. So yeah, here we go. This is the tune is called Christ Be Our Light. Music is by Bernadette Farrell, and as are the words as well. So here we go. This is Longing for Light. So Christ be our light there for Maggie and Ian. I don't know who's in with us today. Hope we've got a good number of you. Obviously it'll be a much smaller number than we normally have. And 66, hello all 66 of you. Very good to have you with us. You can ignore the text on the screen. Please become a Patreon because you are already Patreons. So today is on the thumbnail you may have seen it said organ music, hymns, updates and chat. So obviously we always have organ music, chat and hymns, but just wanted to give you guys a bit of a sort of a heads up on updates. You know, I think you've been more supportive than anyone else, so I wanted to give you the first gossip, if you like, hot gossip, hot off the press. I think we should start with the organ marathon. I do intend to give an update, a public update on how it went, how I feel it went, and a bit of a retrospective on that. I will release that on the channel. Obviously, it's been a bit busy around the house, but I just wanted to give you a bit of an update now on it. So the first thing to say is that we raised about on the day, on the actual day, and about within 24 hours or so afterwards, when donations were still coming in, we raised about £8,500. And all that money is going to go towards the new organ. In fact, the new bit of news which no one knows yet on the channel. Deposit has been paid for the organ. The deposit has gone. The deposit basically, the part of the organ which is going to take the longest to build, I don't know whether you can guess or not, but the most complicated part of an organ, Caroline will then shout out, which bit do you think is the most complicated part of a new organ? I'll let you have a guess in the chat, and if you get it, fine. But this element of the organ has now been commissioned. It is being designed. It's been designed. It's now being built, and the lead time for this is the longest. So that is now official. There's no turning back, really. The manuals indeed, Rory, yeah. So the the keyboards are coming from Germany, from a company called, I forget the German name, but they basically call themselves UHT. If you just Google UHT organ keyboards, they'll come up. Amongst the best in the business. So the lead time for the organ keyboards for manuals is a long time. So we had to get those keyboards commissioned imminently for the deadline of Easter Sunday, which is obviously the end of Advent Sunday. Easter Sunday, yes. We've had that already. Advent Sunday, which is the end of November. That's when I want to have the organ in place for Advent. To be a wonderful opportunity to give Christmas concerts on it and really show it off. So they have been commissioned. So the money that you helped me raise, obviously donations came in outside of the Patreon sort of community as well, and I'm very grateful for those people. But collectively we are at £8,500. Now, I've also had a couple of very generous donations from people within the Patreon community. You know who you are, and obviously I know who you are, and very grateful indeed. So the figure actually is quite a lot higher than that. We are, I would say, what did I say? Did I say we had to raise £35,000 on the screen? So we're not too far off raising that amount of money. So obviously there's a bit more work to do. So we have until the end of November to pay for the organ. That's when they want the final payment. Basically, the deposit was £25,000, which is that's been paid. Another deposit will be required halfway through the build, and the final payment at the very end is when I sign the organ off. I'm happy with it, and I take delivery of it. But that's in November, so we have until end of November to raise the remaining money, basically. I hope you don't mind, guys, but I'm going to be honest about this. For commercial reasons and decency's sake, I won't be publicly announcing how much the organ costs in total. I think that would be unfair on the organ builders. There were two companies, Renatus and Romsey Organ Works. They're working together to build this instrument. It would be unfair on them if I told you the final figure. So, but just put it this way, I'm willing to obviously pay a large portion of the organ out of my own pocket. I'm going to work very, very hard for the organ. Lots of more sponsored events, marathons, and just whatever we can really to raise the money. And I need you guys as well to help me along. So that £35,000 was an initial sort of stab in the dark. Actually, the figure has actually gone up. The figure seems to be going up. They seem to be sending me estimates. It's now going to cost you this amount of money. So actually, I think that figure may have to be revised. But like I say, we've got a while to pay for it. So the gossip is deposit has been paid, yay, and organs have been commissioned. They are now being built by UHT. That's astonishing. The next bit of sort of development in the organ is to replicate the stop heads. So these stops are going to be well, they're not actually. They're going to be identical to the actual Harrison and Harrison stop heads. The stops that they use are going to be on my organ. But what we need to do is, obviously on a Harrison console, we don't need to change the stop heads. The stop will stay as it is forevermore, but because we have lots of different Harvard organs, what I've asked them to do is innovate a way that we can easily just change the stop head. If we're going from Con to Alessandria, which is where we are today, for a proper recital, I'll want to change the stops around so I know exactly what I'm pulling out. So they're actually innovating a way. And what we're doing is Harrison are sending us, very kindly, an actual stop and a thumb piston as well. And we're going to actually get the font exactly the same, and the actual the dimensions, the feel and the craftsmanship of a genuine Harrison stop to be replicated on our organ. So very, very exciting indeed. Let's crack on with some more hymns, shall we? Let's go into Praise My Soul, the King of Heaven. Mark, this is for you. And I think this is actually, this was played at their wedding, Queen Elizabeth and Prince Philip's wedding. I think it was the first hymn at their wedding. So what a wonderful way to start. It's a really wonderful hymn, isn't it? So, Praise My Soul, the King of Heaven. If I'm talking too much, by the way, let Caroline know, and I'll stop. So what, I'm not going to talk about the new organ anymore. I just want to mention one more thing. You can actually see, if I just go back to the sort of the playing scene, if you like. Now over there, where I was just pointing, you can see that. So I normally keep all of the tech out of view. It's really intentional. I don't like people to see tech on the console. But you can actually see the screen, the computer screen over there. That's Hauptwerk, and you'll occasionally see me looking over there as I'm playing. And that's because the stops on the Alessandria organ aren't necessarily aligned to the stops on my physical organ, so I don't know what I've got out. I'm relying heavily on divisionals, and I've got three. On the actual organ here, I've got three mixtures. Those three stops there are mixtures, and they're basically programmed for Rotterdam. But the only mixture on the great, or it's called the Grand Organo on the Alessandria organ, is that one. And it's rather loud. Those two are actually redundant, but I can't always remember whether it's that one, or that one, you see. So I just need to look up there occasionally and see what stops I've got left to pull out. So please excuse me looking over there, and please excuse the tech on the screen. I'm going to play. We've had a few requests for organ pieces today. Thank you. You're often a bit slow at requesting organ music. You're often very good at requesting hymns, but not necessarily organ music. So we've actually had a few requests for organ pieces today. So we've had this request for this wonderful piece by Thalben Ball, his elegy, and it's been requested by Cheryl. It's a wonderful piece. I think, obviously, again in Andantino. Thank you. In honour and in memory of Prince Philip, and it really is a wonderful piece. I think I played it last week or the week before, but if it was up to me, I'd play it every week. It's so wonderful. So what we need to find is a really wonderful solo cello quality sound. I'm going to have to grab another reason why we need to get a new organ. This is behind the scenes. I've got a wireless keyboard here, and what I'm doing now is I'm selecting on the great, the Grande Organo, I'm selecting the gamba. Now I haven't got the gamba assigned to a physical stop, so the only way I can select the gamba on the great is by using this, unfortunately. Not good at all. Very, very, well, it's just not good enough, is it? I want to be able to pull all the stops out by my hand. So I'm trying to find this cello quality. So let's have the gamba, the principal, a flute. Let's have the 8-foot stops on the choir. Let's bring them all up onto the great. The swell, so we have the strings and the other 8-foot stops. There we go. So that's basically all of the 8-foot stops on the entire organ. There was one more there hiding. Why isn't that one coming out? There we go. And there, lovely. Okay, so this is the Thalben Ball elegy, which started off life, as I'm sure you know by now, as an improvisation. And actually, if you listen to Thalben Ball's own recording of this elegy, it's played very, very differently to the way we play it today. It's played much faster and a bit more, rather than an elegy, more like an allegro and a rhapsody, I suppose. But I think the way we play it today, quite slowly and mysteriously, with a really wonderful crescendo, very stately tempo, works really well. Anyway, here we go. Andantino, this is George Thalben Ball's elegy. Really is such a wonderful piece. That the first time I played that on a cathedral organ was at York, and it wasn't when I was organ scholar. It wasn't long after. I assume most of you have seen the video that I put online on Thursday with the duet of me playing this piece by Jean Langlais, Incantation pour un jour ça, an incantation for a holy day, with my 15-year-old self. From Truro, I went to York very, very soon after that with my dad, and I played the elegy. It was after an evensong, I think on a Sunday, and Philip Moore allowed me to stay in. I still have his little postcard that he sent me in response to my request to go and play the organ. It took him about 2 months to reply, typical Philip. But I got it, and in his beautiful handwriting with his fountain pen. And I played it on the organ at York, and it was a real privilege to play. So it's a piece very, very close to my heart, and I know a lot of people, particularly here in the UK, and I'm very pleased now through the medium of YouTube and these worldwide audiences, congregations. Pieces like this, these English pieces, are getting a wider audience over in America, the Netherlands. I don't know whether yet it's broken the French market. They seem to like French music and Bach in France, but I'm glad to see this is actually now getting around the world, so, and thoroughly deserved. The next hymn we're going to have is Jesu, the very thought of thee. This is a request, I think, from Julian and Tristan. I don't know whether you're in, guys, but if you are, thank you very much for requesting this. Jesu, the very thought of thee, with sweetness fills my breast, but sweeter far thy face to see, and in thy presence rest. The tune is called St. Botolph, and it's by Gordon Slater. Just want to say, actually, whilst I'm just short talking, a huge thank you to those of you who contributed towards this. I think Ian particularly for pulling it together. Very, very kind of you. So your handwritten notes here. So we've got Jerry, Maurice, Trevor, Peter, does that say Larry? I can't read that. Who's that there? Ian there, Garrett, and then Story Angel and Gerda. So thank you for signing this card. It was received a while ago, and apologies that I've not yet said thank you, but thank you very much for that. Thank you to Graham Trist, who won't be in the chat today, for writing a piece of organ music for Hugo, and thank you to Trevor, Graham, and Gerda, and again Ian for pulling together that wonderful hymn tune. We're going to record it this week, so look out on the channel for that. Okay, so here we go. Jesu, the very thought of thee. Such a wonderful tune, that one, isn't it? Such a wonderful tune. The way it glides up to the top E flats in the third line. It's really well written tune actually, because a lot of the notes move in steps. The first line, near the intervals of a third, major third, then a fifth. But then as we go on, they basically move in tones, so all the notes are next to each other. They're all next to each other. Interval there, third. Some hymns are really sort of up and down and all over the place, which make it quite hard for the congregation to sing. So I think that's a really well written tune there by Gordon Slater. We are in Easter tide after all, so let's have an Easter hymn. Now the green blade riseth from the buried grain, Noel Nouvelet. This is a request from Chris and Bill. So two people have been requesting these hymns. It's amazing that because we have fewer people actually, there are still multiple people requesting the same hymn, so that's wonderful. 4 verses of this wonderful tune, Noel Nouvelet. Now the green blade riseth from the buried grain, wheat that in dark earth many days has lain. Love lives again, that with the dead has been. And then a refrain, love is come again, like wheat that springeth green. As Prince Philip was in the Navy, I think for 13 or 14 years, it would be appropriate to have this next hymn, Eternal Father Strong to Save. This hymn is just associated to naval themes, and it has a nautical theme. The last 2 lines for the first 3 verses are, O hear us when we cry to thee for those in peril on the sea. And then the final verse in verse 4, and ever let there rise to thee glad hymns of praise from land and sea. This is actually a request from Jean Balfour, and I'm very happy to play this. The tune is called Melita, and the words are by William Whiting. and the tune is actually by J.B. Dykes. I don't know what the J.B. stands for, but it's by Dykes. 19th century. So, Eternal Father, strong to save. I didn't realise that I had a submarine stop, to be honest. But I'm very happy that you were able to identify a submarine in those colours. Yes, so next hymn here is for Eastertide. Good Christian men rejoice and sing. Now is the triumph of our King. To all the world, glad news we bring. Alleluia. This is a request from Terry. So thank you very much for requesting this. We couldn't actually find the Paul Mann's prelude on this. We've got a pile of organ music behind me there, and I could find quite a few of those Paul Mann's books, which we received in the post, Terry, but for some reason I couldn't find this one. So maybe I was looking in the wrong one. There is a chorale prelude by Healy Willan on this, which I played last week. That's rather good. That's 2 pages long, and it's a sort of a short fanfare, the sort of thing you might play after a morning matins, a short service. It's a little bit short for an evensong, I think. It's only a minute and a half, but it's a good sort of fanfare if you wanted a good procession, maybe before the gospel, or as a normal procession, as a clergy and the choir entering the service. The Healy Willen chorale prelude is rather good, actually, if you look it up. This OUP. Meanwhile, this is just the standard hymn. Good Christian men rejoice in saying, "Now is the triumph of our King. To all the world, glad news we bring. Alleluia." Apologies, by the way, for the quiet week here on Beauty in Sound. We've actually, well, frankly, we've just been learning how to be parents for the first time, and it's rather fun. We had a very busy week in Holy Week, doing a live organ compline every night in Holy Week, which was terrific fun. Actually, really enjoyed doing those, and thank you all so much for your comments on those videos and for joining me and us on those videos as well. Really wonderful. So we'll do those again. And then obviously the recital from Truro went live, which has gone well. It's nearly at 14,000 views, that one. So it seems to have gone down well. And we just wanted a few days just to ourselves post-Easter. But normal service will resume soon with new content coming. I've got to do episode 5 of the Recording Truro, which I've had a lot of questions about. So when's that coming online? Now that the recital is online, I can actually show you to some extent how I managed to mix it and get the sound I got. There'll be one or two little trade secrets which I might not reveal, just because that's my own personal stamp mark. But I'll definitely go into how we sort of mixed it all together, and a few other videos as well. So obviously the organ marathon update and other things. Lullaby by Graham Twistley to record, and your hymn, Trevor, as well. So lots of things coming your way very, very soon. Here we go. So, good Christian men rejoice and sing for Terry. Okay, so we're actually approaching that hour mark, and the reason we wanted to just finish a little bit early tonight is because, well, we're not able to properly resource the chat and grab all of these hymns, but we also want to go for a quick walk this evening before it gets too dark. So what I'm going to do is just zoom through a few more. Where are we? So let's go to Ancient and Modern 800 and, I can't tell whether Caroline's writing that says a 6 or a 4. 800 and 804 or 806. Oh, yes, 806. Corverdale. There's a wideness in God's mercy. This is for Nick. Hi Nick, if you're with us, hello. And then after that, we'll have a piece by Purcell, which has come in from Eddie. Eddie likes the older, the oldies basically. We're trying to get him a bit more modern, so we're starting with Mendelssohn. We're getting there. And yes, and what else shall we have? We'll have I Vow to Thee, My Country. Let's have Corverdale, a bit of Purcell, I Vow to Thee, Angel Voices. And then we'll probably have something at the end as well to sign us off. So there's a wideness in God's mercy for Nick. And now let's just have a little bit of Purcell to utilise the best use of this tuba, which you've heard a few times already today. So I'll play one of Purcell's famous trumpet tunes. It's actually called Trumpet Tune and Air. So this is, I think this one is for Eddie. This is a request from Eddie for some Purcell. So that was Purcell's, one of his trumpet tune and airs. I think Purcell actually wrote a few trumpet tunes. Jerry, I did see your C.S. Lang with the Peterborough tuba as well. How did that go? How are you finding the tuba at Peterborough? I gather that you've actually been playing around with the mix and you're more happy with it than you initially were. I think out of the box, it's not a particularly pleasing sample. You need to play around with the surround, don't you? The problem with Peterborough, a little bit of this is the problem I have with stereo samples now. Stereo samples just don't cut the mustard when it comes to immersion. And Peterborough, unfortunately, is only available in stereo. I think a surround one is coming. I really think they ought to release. They ought to release it all at the same time, to be honest. But when I had stereo, Jerry, I was exactly the same. I used to distribute all the divisions into different areas of the room, so it felt like surround, and it was much more immersive doing that. But it's not quite the same as surround. You haven't got those rear channels, bringing the acoustic into the mix from behind you. So yeah, I did see that. How does it? So, I haven't played that for a long time, actually. Is it a grade 6 piece? I think I did it on my grade 6. Anyway, so 2 more hymns. I Vow to Thee, My Country is the first one. And this is a request from Terry. Caroline has written here, Duke of Edinburgh. Yes, so this is in honour of the Duke of Edinburgh. It's a wonderful patriotic and sort of a national hymn, isn't it, this one? So I Vow to Thee, My Country, to the wonderful tune called Faxted by, of course, by Holst. I actually made use there of the crescendo pedal. I don't often use a crescendo pedal. I've spoken about them before. I find them very, very irritating because they always catch me out. But actually I used it for that, just to see how it went on that final verse. So you probably heard just some stops coming on with a bit of a jolt. That's the problem with them. They're not particularly smooth in their crescendo. They're not very common in this country here in England. I know they're common over in the States, but we don't often have them here in this country. Now Caroline's written Angel Voices at number 246, but I'll tell you now, it's not number 246 in either hymn book that I've got here. So let me just have a quick look in the index. Angel Voices, 336. I think that's probably Richard. I don't know whether you're in the chat, but you've asked for Angel Voices, and you're going to get it when I find the tune, find it in the hymn book. There it is. Angel Voices, ever singing round thy throne of light. This will be tonight's final hymn. We'll have 5 verses of this wonderful tune. This tune is called Angel Voices, and it's by E.G. Monk, and the words are by Francis Pott. There is actually a living composer called Francis Pott, who writes a lot of wonderful choral music, and Francis used to be a lay clerk at Winchester, and his daughter sings with my consort SW1 choir, so it's a nice connection with the real Francis, the living Francis Pott. Here we go. Angel Voices, ever singing round thy throne of light. That darn crescendo pedal again. So this brings us now on to our voluntary today, which will be a wonderful piece by Herbert Howells, requested by Paul Lawson, who is a huge Herbert Howells fan, a man after my own heart. Herbert Howells is the inspiration for Hugo's middle name, Hugo Herbert. So he's just next door, so I'll be able to hear this. The Psalm Prelude, number 1 from set 1 of 2. The Psalm Prelude is based on Psalm 34 verse 6. Lo, the poor crieth, and the Lord heareth me, yea, and saveth him out of all his troubles. So it starts very quietly, very mysteriously. Lo, the poor crieth, very quiet, almost in the depths. And the Lord heareth me. So imagine sort of that cry going up to heaven, finally getting to heaven, and then yea, and saveth him. So God saves him, which then is depicted by a crescendo and a crescendo out of all his troubles. So there's lots of harmonic interest, and there's lots of key changes, lots of accidentals, lots of excitement. So see what you think about the word painting and how Howells brings this scripture to life. Lo, the poor crieth, and the Lord heareth me, yea, and saveth him out of all his troubles. So this is Psalm Prelude number 1 from set 1 by Herbert Howells. There we go. That was the Psalm Prelude by Howells, the first Psalm Prelude of 2 sets. There were 6 Psalm Preludes. The second set he wrote considerably later in life, in the 1940s, I think. And these were written in the, well, that one was written in 1915, when he was fairly young. Bearing in mind he was born in 1892. So I think we'll leave it there tonight. Actually, I did play that. When did I last play that? That was in my Lent recital that I gave on Görlitz. So go and check out that recital, play that, and the organ of Görlitz particularly does it really well. It's wonderful playing this English music on, continental organs like German organs and Italian organs like where we are today. It really brings a fresh colour to it. We're so used in this country to hearing these pieces played on great Willis organs and Harrison organs with their very unique sounds. But it's actually really nice to hear them played with fresh colours and ideas on a different organ, French organs and German and Italian. Go and check it out. Right, so thank you very much, guys, for joining us. I hope you've liked this sort of lower key, more intimate virtual church. And I do hope that you, I'll try to do more Patreon-only exclusive videos going forwards. It takes the pressure off me, actually. It makes it a bit more informal, a bit easier for me and for us both, particularly as the little one gets hungry and gets a bit more demanding. So thank you very much. We will all say cheerio, and until next time, next week. I haven't put a schedule online yet. It's so naughty of me. I'll get a schedule online very, very soon, I promise. We will all say cheerio. Good night, everyone. Stay well and stay safe, and thank you for all of your support. Good night.